Captain Jake Morrison sat in his command chair aboard the Earth's Promise, watching the stars drift past the main screen. His ship had been traveling through empty space for 3 weeks now, checking planets that might have life. Most of the time they found nothing but rocks and gas. "Sir, I'm getting something strange," said Ryan Bell from his seat at the communication station. He was young, maybe 25, with short brown hair and quick hands that moved over his controls like he was playing music. Jake turned to look at him. "What kind of strange?" "It's a signal, but not like anything I've heard before. It's coming from the third planet in this system." Ryan pressed some buttons and the sound came through the speakers. It was a mix of high and low tones that seemed to follow a pattern. Dr. Lisa Grant looked up from her science station. She was a tall woman with red hair tied back in a simple ponytail. Her job was to study alien life, but so far on this trip, she hadn't found much to study. "Let me hear that again," she said. Ryan played the signal once more. Lisa listened carefully, her green eyes focused on something only she could see in her mind. After a moment, she stood up and walked over to Jake's chair. "Captain, that's not random noise. There's math in those sounds. Complex math. Only intelligent beings make patterns like that." Jake felt his heart beat faster. Finding intelligent life was every explorer's dream. "Are you sure? I've been studying alien signals for 10 years. This is the real thing." Lisa went back to her station and started working. "Give me a few minutes and I might be able to figure out what they're saying." Jake looked at the planet on his screen. According to their computer, it was listed as empty in all the galactic records. No life, no cities, nothing worth visiting. But if Lisa was right, someone down there was trying to talk to them. "Kate, bring us closer to the planet," Jake said to his second-in-command. Commander Kate Lopez was a small woman with dark hair and eyes that missed nothing. She had been with Jake for 5 years and he trusted her completely. "Yes, sir," Kate said. She gave orders to the pilot and the Earth's Promise changed course toward the planet. As they got closer, Jake could see that something was wrong with the world below them. The air around the planet looked thin and dirty. Parts of the surface that should have been blue ocean were brown and green. It looked like a planet that was dying. "Captain, I've got something," Lisa called out. She had been working at her station for 20 minutes, and now her face was pale. "I can understand part of their message." "What does it say?" Lisa looked at him with sad eyes. "They're asking for help. They say their world is dying and they don't have much time left." Jake felt cold. "How much time?" "If I'm reading this right, maybe a few months. Their air is being poisoned and they can't stop it." Ryan spoke up from his station. "Sir, I think I can send a message back. If Dr. Grant is right about their math, I might be able to talk to them." "Do it," Jake said. Ryan worked for several minutes, then sent a signal toward the planet. They waited. 5 minutes passed, then 10. Just when Jake thought no one would answer, the speakers came alive with new sounds. "They're answering," Ryan said, his voice excited. "And sir, they're using our language now." "Well, trying to." The voice that came through the speakers was strange, like wind blowing through crystal caves, but Jake could understand the words even if they sounded different. "Human ship, you hear us? We are Villani. We need help. Please help us." Jake looked around his bridge. His crew was staring at him, waiting for his decision. He had never heard of the Villani before. According to every map and record they had, this planet was supposed to be empty. "This is Captain Jake Morrison of the Earthship Promise. We hear you. What kind of help do you need?" The voice came back quickly, full of hope and fear. "Our enemies poison our air. They want our planet, but not us. We die slow. All of us die. No one helps. Everyone says we're not important." Lisa was working at her station again. She looked up at Jake. "Captain, I'm picking up readings from their planet. Someone has been using industrial chemicals to destroy their atmosphere. This is deliberate murder." Jake felt anger rising in his chest. "Who would do something like that?" "The Zephyrians," came the voice from the planet. "They strong. They want our world for mining. They pay others to leave us alone. Galactic Council says we too small to matter. Kate moved closer to Jake's chair. Sir, we don't have orders to get involved in local conflicts. This could cause problems with Earth Command. Jake knew she was right. Their mission was to explore and report back, not to get involved in alien wars. But he couldn't forget the fear in that strange voice, or the way the speaker had said that no one thought they were important. Tell me about your people, Jake said into his microphone. We are artists and builders. We make beautiful things. We study stars and life. We never hurt others. But we weak, cannot fight Zephyrians and their machines. How many of you are there? 3 million Villani still live, but every day more die from bad air. Children die first. Old ones next. Soon all gone. Jake closed his eyes for a moment. 3 million people were dying, and no one cared because they were small and weak. It reminded him of stories from Earth's history, when powerful nations let terrible things happen to smaller ones. Sir, Lisa said quietly, their planet is only 2 days away at full speed. We could at least take a look. Jake opened his eyes and looked at his crew. Ryan was nodding, his young face serious. Kate looked worried but determined. Lisa was already packing her equipment. Set course for their planet, Jake said. We're going to see what we can do. Thank you, came the voice from the speakers, and Jake could hear crying in those strange crystal tones. Thank you for caring when no one else does. The Earth's Promise arrived at the Villani homeworld 2 days later. Jake Morrison stood on his bridge, looking at the dying planet through the main screen. What he saw made his stomach turn. The planet that should have been blue and green was covered in brown clouds. Strange machines floated in the upper atmosphere, pumping out thick smoke that fell like rain. Even from space, Jake could see that rivers had turned black and forests were gone. My God, whispered Dr. Lisa Grant. It's worse than I thought. Commander Kate Lopez checked her readings. Those machines are Zephyrian design, military-grade atmospheric processors, but they're running backwards. Instead of cleaning the air, they're poisoning it. Ryan Bell was talking to the Villani through his communications equipment. The alien voice came through clearly now, speaking better English than before. Captain Morrison, I am Kethera, Elder of the South Crystal Cities. Thank you for coming. We did not think anyone would answer our calls. We're here now, Jake said. Tell me what happened to your world. Kethera's voice became sad and tired. 5 years ago, the Zephyrians came. They said they needed our planet for mining. We said no. They left, but then the machines came. Every day more poison in our air. Every day more of my people die. Lisa was working at her science station. Captain, I'm reading the atmospheric composition. The air down there is becoming unbreathable. They have maybe 4 months before it kills everything on the planet. Jake felt anger building inside him. Kethera, have you asked the Galactic Council for help? Many times. They say we are too few to matter. They say Zephyrians pay good money to stronger races. Money more important than Villani lives. Kate moved closer to Jake. Sir, we need to report this to Earth Command, but we should also try the galactic authorities. Maybe if humans make the request, they'll listen. Jake nodded. Ryan, set course for Nexus Prime. That's the closest galactic station. Nexus Prime was a huge space station that served as a meeting place for different alien races. As the Earth's Promise docked, Jake could see ships from dozens of different worlds. Some looked like giant insects, others like floating crystals or metal spheres. Jake took Kate and a new crew member, Ambassador Tony Rodriguez, with him to meet the station's officials. Tony was an older man with gray hair who had spent years learning how to talk to aliens. If anyone could convince them to help, it would be him. Their first meeting was with Vex Thulan, an Altarian diplomat. The Altarians looked like tall blue humans with 4 arms and silver eyes. They were one of the most powerful races in the galaxy. Ambassador Rodriguez, Vex Thulan said in perfect English. I understand you wish to discuss the Villani situation. Yes, Tony said. 3 million innocent beings are being murdered. Surely the galactic community can stop this. Vex Thulan made a sound that might have been laughter. The Villani are a failed species. They have no useful technology, no valuable resources left. No military power. Why should we waste time on them? Jake couldn't stay quiet. Because it's the right thing to do. Right? Vexthulin's silver eyes looked at Jake like he was a child. Captain Morrison, the galaxy runs on strength and profit, not on feelings. The Villani are weak. The Zephyrians are strong. This is natural order. Their next meeting was with the Corathans, a race of living rock creatures. Their representative, a being called Stone-Voiced Ninth, was even less helpful. Villani planet has good minerals, Stone-Voiced Ninth said in a grinding voice. Zephyrians pay us 20% of mining profits. Why would we stop profitable arrangement for dying race? Jake stared at the rock creature. You're talking about 3 million lives. Lives end. Minerals last forever. Corathans think long. Term, Kate whispered to Jake. Sir, I don't think we're going to get help here. But Tony wasn't giving up. What about the ethereals? They're supposed to be wise and advanced. The ethereals were beings of pure energy who rarely spoke to physical races. When they did agree to meet, their representative appeared as a shifting ball of light. The concerns of flesh beings are beneath our notice, the light said in a voice, like wind. Villani, Zephyrian, human, all temporary. We think in terms of millions of years, not moments. After 6 hours of meetings, they had learned several disturbing things. Lisa had been doing research in the station's databases while they talked to diplomats. Captain, she said when they met back on their ship, it's worse than we thought. The Zephyrians aren't just acting alone. They're paying protection money to at least 5 major species. The Altarians get weapons technology. The Corathans get mining rights. The Vegan trade union gets cheap transport contracts. Tony looked tired and defeated. Half the galaxy has a financial interest in letting the Villani die. Ryan had been monitoring galactic communications. Sir, there's more. I've been listening to news broadcasts. This isn't the first time something like this has happened. In the last 50 years, 12 small species have gone extinct. The galactic community did nothing to help any of them. Jake felt sick. 12 species just wiped out? And no one cares, Kate said. As long as the big species make money, they don't care how many small ones die. Lisa pulled up information on her screen. I've found something else. The Villani actually have incredible biotechnology. Their crystal-based biology lets them heal almost any injury and live for hundreds of years. But the major pharmaceutical companies have been suppressing this knowledge. Why? Jake asked. Because if Villani healing technology became common, it would destroy their profits. Sick people are profitable, healthy people are not. Tony shook his head. So not only will no one help them, some races actively want them dead. Jake looked around at his crew. They had come here hoping to find allies, but instead they had learned that the galaxy was a cold, cruel place where money mattered more than life. Sir, Kate said quietly, what do we do now? Jake thought about Cathara's voice, full of hope when he had promised to try. He thought about 3 million beings dying slowly while the galaxy watched and counted profits. We go back to Earth, he said finally. If the galactic community won't help, maybe our people will. Sir, Ryan said, Earth Command might not authorize military action. This could start a war. Jake looked at the image of the dying planet on his screen. Then we better make sure we're ready for one. The Earth's promise took 3 weeks to reach Earth. During the journey, Jake Morrison sent detailed reports to Earth Command about everything they had discovered. He told them about the dying Villani, the cruel Zephyrians, and the galactic community that refused to help. When they arrived at Earth's orbital station, Jake was surprised to find Admiral Ben Hayes waiting for him. Hayes was a big man with white hair and kind eyes who had been Jake's mentor years ago. Captain Morrison, Hayes said as they shook hands, your report has caused quite a stir back home. Sir, I hope Earth Command will consider helping the Villani. Hayes smiled. Jake, within 6 hours of reading your report, the President called an emergency meeting. The Senate voted yesterday. We're going to save those people. Jake felt relief wash over him. Thank you, sir. Don't thank me yet. This won't be easy. We're talking about moving 3 million beings across space while fighting off anyone who tries to stop us. We'll need new technology, new ships, and a lot of luck. Hayes led Jake to a secure meeting room where several people were waiting. Let me introduce you to your team. Dr. Lisa Grant was already there, along with 2 new faces. One was Carlos Martinez, a young biochemist with dark hair and excited eyes. The other was Maya Williams, an engineer who looked like she hadn't slept in days. Carlos and Maya have been working on the atmospheric problem, Hayes explained. Tell him what you've found. Carlos opened a tablet and showed Jake some charts. Captain, the Villani sent us samples of their air through long-distance communications. We've been studying how their bodies work. They breathe differently than we do, but we think we can help. Maya nodded. We're designing atmospheric processors that can reverse the damage. But we need to understand Villani biology better. Their crystal-based bodies might actually help us clean their air faster than we thought. Lisa leaned forward. I've been working with Cathara directly. The Villani are sharing their biotechnology with us. It's incredible. Their bodies can filter toxins naturally, but the Zephyrian poison is too strong. What's the timeline? Jake asked. We have maybe 10 weeks, Carlos said. After that, even our best technology won't be able to save their world. Hayes stood up. Which brings us to the bigger problem. We can't just fix their planet. The Zephyrians will just poison it again. We need to move the Villani to safety. Where? Jake asked. We've found a planet in the Ross system. Good air, good water, similar gravity. But it's empty land. No cities, no infrastructure. We'll have to build everything. Maya pulled up new plans on her tablet. We're converting cargo ships into colony vessels. Each ship can carry 50,000 Villani plus supplies. We'll need 60 ships total. Jake stared at the numbers. 60 ships? That's the biggest civilian operation in human history. It gets better, Hayes said with a grin. We put out a call for volunteers. 50,000 humans have signed up to help. Pilots, engineers, doctors, teachers, everyone wants to be part of this. Lisa looked amazed. 50,000 people volunteering for a dangerous mission to save aliens they've never met. That's what humans do, Hayes said simply. Over the next few days, Jake watched the biggest rescue operation ever planned come together. Supply Officer Janet Brooks was working 20-hour days to gather everything they would need. Food, water, medical supplies, building materials, enough to support 3 million beings for months. Frank Torres, an intelligence analyst, was studying Zephyrian military tactics. Captain, they have about 30 warships in the area, fast fighters mostly but heavily armed. They won't just let us take the Villani. What about their allies? Jake asked. That's the real problem. The Altarians have promised them protection. If we interfere, we could be fighting some of the most advanced ships in the galaxy. Captain Linda Shaw was Jake's new tactical expert. She was a small woman with sharp eyes who had spent years studying alien military technology. We can't win a straight fight, she said honestly. But we don't need to. We just need to hold them off long enough to evacuate the planet. How do we do that? Linda smiled. By being human. We're going to do things they won't expect. Meanwhile, Carlos and Maya were making breakthrough discoveries. Working with Villani scientists through long-distance communication, they had learned amazing things. Captain, Carlos said excitedly during one meeting, Villani crystal biology can actually work with our technology. When we combine their natural, filtering abilities with our atmospheric processors, we can clean an entire planet's air in weeks instead of years. Maya was equally excited. And their building techniques. They grow structures from crystals instead of building them. We could help them create new cities on their new planet in months. But the most important discovery came from Lisa. She had been working closely with Cathara and other Villani scientists. Jake, they've shared something incredible with us. Their medical technology can heal almost any injury or disease. But more than that, when Villani and human technology work together, both become more powerful. What do you mean? I mean our computers think faster when they're connected to Villani crystal networks. Their healing crystals work better when combined with our medical knowledge. It's like our species were meant to work together. Jake felt a chill of excitement. So we're not just saving them. We're creating something new. Exactly. A partnership that could change everything. Admiral Hayes called a final meeting before the mission launched. The room was full of ship captains, scientists, and military officers. People, Hayes said. In 72 hours, we launched the largest rescue mission in human history. 60 ships, 50,000 volunteers, 3 million lives at stake. The galaxy thinks we're crazy. Someone in the back called out, "Are we crazy, sir?" Hayes grinned. Absolutely. We're risking war with some of the most powerful species in the galaxy to save people we've never met. We're spending billions of dollars and putting thousands of our own people in danger for strangers. The room was quiet. And that, Hayes continued, is exactly why we're going to succeed. Because no one else in the galaxy would do something this crazy. They think only about profit and power. We think about what's right. Jake stood up. Sir, the fleet is ready. All ships report full crews and supplies loaded. Then go save some lives, Captain. Show the galaxy what humans are really made of. As Jake walked toward his ship, he thought about the weeks ahead. They were going to war against impossible odds to save people the rest of the galaxy had written off. It was crazy, dangerous, and expensive. It was also exactly what humans did best. The human fleet arrived at the Volani homeworld just as the sun was rising over the poisoned planet. Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of Earth's Promise, now the flagship of 60 rescue ships. Through the main screen, he could see the brown clouds that covered the dying world. My God, whispered Commander Kate Lopez. It's gotten worse. She was right. In the weeks since they had left, more Zephyrian machines had been added to the atmosphere. The poison rain was falling heavier now, and Jake could see that whole sections of the planet's surface had turned black. Captain, called Ryan Bell from his communication station, I'm getting a message from Cathara. The familiar crystal voice came through the speakers, but it sounded weaker than before. Captain Morrison, you came back. We did not dare to hope. We're here to get you out. Jake said, all of you, are your people ready? Ready and waiting. But Captain, the Zephyrians know you are coming. Their ships surround our world. Jake looked at his tactical display. Linda Shaw had been right. 30 Zephyrian warships were positioned around the planet like a deadly net. Captain, came a new voice over the communications. This is War Leader Krex of the Zephyrian fleet. You will leave this system immediately or be destroyed. Jake looked at Kate, who nodded back. They had expected this. War Leader Krex, this is Captain Morrison of the Earth Fleet. We're here on a humanitarian mission. We're taking the Volani to safety. The Volani belong to us now. This planet is ours. Leave or die. Before Jake could answer, his radar officer called out a warning. Sir, more ships dropping out of hyperspace, Altarian design. Jake's heart sank as he watched 12 massive Altarian battleships appear on his screen. Each one was twice the size of his largest ship. Captain Morrison, came a cold voice. This is Fleet Commander Zexthon of the Altarian Navy. You are in violation of galactic law. Withdraw immediately. Jake looked around his bridge. His crew was scared but determined. They had come too far to turn back now. All ships, this is Morrison. Begin the evacuation. Linda, give us cover. Captain Linda Shaw was commanding the fighter squadrons from her ship, the New York. Roger that. All fighters, engage the Zephyrian ships. Keep them busy. The space around the planet exploded into battle. Human fighters, small and fast, darted between the larger Zephyrian ships like bees attacking bears. Pilot Alex Turner led the first squadron, diving straight at a Zephyrian cruiser. This is crazy, Alex said over the radio. But it's working. Their ships are too big to hit us when we get close. While the fighters kept the enemy busy, the evacuation ships landed on the planet's surface. Jake watched through his cameras as the first teams made contact with the Volani. Marine Captain Holly Peterson was leading the ground teams. She had never seen beings like the Volani before. They looked like walking crystals that caught and reflected light in beautiful patterns. Captain Morrison, Holly reported, the Volani are incredible. They're weak from the poison, but they're helping us organize the evacuation. They've got everything ready. Medic Danny Clark was working with Villani healers to help the sickest members of their species. Sir, their medical knowledge is amazing. They're teaching us things about healing we never knew. But the real breakthrough came from Chief Engineer Sam Foster. He had been working with Villani scientists to deploy the atmospheric processors that Carlos and Maya had designed. Captain, you need to see this, Sam said over the radio. The Villani crystal technology is connecting with our processors. It's working better than we ever imagined. Jake could see it on his instruments. The brown clouds around the planet were starting to clear. Clean air was spreading out from the processors like ripples in a pond. War Leader Krex, Jake called over the radio. Your atmospheric poisoning is being reversed. Even if you destroy us, the Villani world will heal. Impossible, came Krex's angry reply. But it wasn't impossible. Dr. Lisa Grant was monitoring the atmospheric changes from her science station. Jake, the combination of human technology and Villani biology is creating something completely new. We're not just cleaning the air, we're making it healthier than it was before the poisoning. The battle in space was getting more intense. The Altarian ships had joined the fight and several human ships had been damaged. But the humans kept fighting, using tactics that confused their enemies. Sir, called Linda Shaw. The aliens are fighting like they always do. Big ships, straight lines, predictable patterns. We're fighting like humans, sneaky, unpredictable, willing to take crazy risks. Alex Turner proved her point by flying his fighter directly through the bridge of a Zephyrian ship. Sometimes the best defense is a good offense, he said as the enemy ship spun out of control. Communications officer Ryan Bell was broadcasting everything that was happening to the entire galaxy. Sir, every species in known space is watching. They can see us risking our lives to save people we barely know. Jake hoped that mattered. Right now he was focused on getting as many Villani off the planet as possible. Captain, Holly Peterson reported from the surface, we've got 500,000 Villani aboard the evacuation ships. But sir, some of them don't want to leave. What do you mean? Cathera's voice came over the communication system. Captain Morrison, many of our people wish to stay and fight with you. They say humans are the first beings to treat us as equals, not as victims. Jake felt a strange emotion in his chest. Tell them we're honored, but we need to get them to safety first. Captain, Sam Foster called urgently. The atmospheric processors are working too well. The Zephyrians are panicking. They're calling in more ships. Jake looked at his tactical display. 20 more ships were approaching. Not just Zephyrians, but Korathans and others. All ships prepare for full retreat, Jake ordered. We've got 2 million Villani aboard. That's not all of them, but it's most. Sir, Kate said quietly, if we leave now, the remaining Villani will be slaughtered. Jake knew she was right. The Zephyrians would be furious that their poisoning operation had been reversed. They would take their anger out on any Villani left behind. Captain Morrison, came Cathera's voice. The remaining Villani have made their choice. We will fight beside you. On the planet's surface, something incredible was happening. Villani, who had been too weak to stand, were rising to their feet as the clean air reached them. Their crystal bodies were glowing brighter as they healed. Sir, Lisa called out, the Villani aren't just getting healthier. Their technology is connecting with ours on a level we never imagined. Our weapons are more powerful. Our shields are stronger. Jake felt the ship around him change. The lights grew brighter. The engines hummed with new power. Somehow the Villani crystals that had been brought aboard were making everything work better. All ships, Jake announced. It looks like we're not just rescuing the Villani. We're becoming something new together. The final battle was about to begin. The battle around the Villani homeworld lasted for 6 hours. When it was over, the Zephyrian fleet was scattered and running. 3 Altarian battleships had been destroyed, and the rest had retreated in shock. The humans had lost only 2 ships, and both crews had been rescued. Jake Morrison stood on his bridge, hardly believing what had happened. The combination of human technology and Villani crystal biology had made their small fleet incredibly powerful. Weapons that should have bounced off alien shields cut through them like paper. Human ships moved faster and hit harder than anyone thought possible. "Captain," Dr. Lisa Grant called from her science station. "The atmospheric processors have completely cleaned the planet's air. It's actually healthier now than it was before the Zephyrians came." Through the main screen, Jake could see the brown clouds disappearing. Blue sky was showing through for the first time in years. On the planet's surface, Vallani cities were beginning to glow as their crystal buildings came back to life. "Sir," Communications Officer Ryan Bell said with excitement in his voice, "we're getting messages from all over the galaxy. Every major species wants to know how we did this." Jake smiled. "What are they saying?" "The Altarians are demanding an explanation. The Corethans want to know about our new technology. The Vegan Trade Union is asking if we want to make a deal." Commander Kate Lopez laughed. "Funny how interested they get when we prove we're not helpless." Cathara's voice came over the speakers from the planet below. "Captain Morrison, my people wish to thank you properly. Will you come to the surface?" Jake, Kate, and Lisa took a shuttle down to the Vallani capital city. What they found there amazed them. The city was made entirely of living crystal that grew from the ground in beautiful, impossible shapes. Towers that looked like frozen music reached toward the sky. Gardens full of crystal plants that sang in the wind surrounded every building. Thousands of Vallani had gathered in the central plaza. They looked so different from the dying beings Jake had first heard calling for help. Their crystal bodies were bright and strong, reflecting rainbow light with every movement. Cathara approached them. She was taller than Jake had expected, with a body that looked like carved diamond. When she spoke, her voice was like gentle music. "Captain Morrison, in our language, there is no word for what you have done. You risked everything to save strangers. You fought impossible odds because it was right. This is not something our people have seen before in the galaxy." Jake felt embarrassed by the praise. "We just did what anyone should do." "No," Cathara said firmly. "We sent distress calls to 47 different species over 5 years. Only humans answered. Only humans came." An elderly Vallani named Zalthis stepped forward. "Captain, we wish to propose something that has never happened before. An alliance between our peoples, not just trade or military cooperation, but true partnership." Lisa leaned forward with interest. "What kind of partnership?" "Our crystal technology and your human innovation work together in ways that seem impossible. Your machines become more powerful. Our healing abilities become stronger. Together we can create things that neither species could make alone." Over the following weeks, amazing things began to happen. Human and Vallani scientists working together developed medical treatments that could cure diseases that had been killing people for centuries. Engineers created ships that could travel faster than anything in the galaxy. The combination of human creativity and Vallani crystal biology opened up possibilities no one had imagined. But the real surprise came when other species began asking for help. Jake, now promoted to admiral, was meeting with representatives from a dozen different races in a new space station built jointly by humans and Vallani. The station itself was a work of art, human engineering covered in living Vallani crystal that made everything work better. "Admiral Morrison," said a small furry creature called Piptel, "my people, the Fenari, have been ignored by the major powers for decades. We are dying from a plague, and no one will help us." A tall, thin being made of what looked like living metal spoke next. "I am Wiresong IV of the Metallic Collective. We too seek alliance with the human Vallani partnership. The major species treat us as machines, not as living beings." One after another, representatives from small and forgotten species asked for help. They had all heard about the rescue of the Vallani and wanted the same protection. Dr. Lisa Grant was now head of the new Biological Research Center, where humans and Vallani worked side by side. "Admiral, we can help most of these species. The medical advances we've made could save millions of lives." Chief Engineer Sam Foster was running the Technology Development Program. "Sir, with Vallani crystal networks helping our computers, we can solve problems we never could before. Food shortages, energy crises, planetary disasters, we have solutions now." But the most important meeting came when the Galactic Council finally asked to speak with the Human Villani Alliance. Admiral Jake Morrison and Elder Cathera stood before the same aliens who had refused to help the dying Villani months before. The Great Council chamber was full of representatives from hundreds of species. Vex Thulin, the Altarian diplomat, looked uncomfortable as he spoke. Admiral Morrison, the Altarian Republic wishes to reconsider our position regarding smaller species. Jake kept his voice calm. What kind of reconsideration? We have seen what can happen when ignored species find powerful allies. We think perhaps the galactic community should be more responsive to requests for humanitarian aid. Stone Voice Ninth of the Corithans was next. The Corithan Empire agrees. Perhaps we have been too focused on immediate profits and not enough on long-term stability. Cathera stood up. Her crystal body caught the light from the chamber's windows and threw rainbows across the walls. Honored council members, the Human Villani Alliance has a proposal. What proposal? Asked the ethereal representative. We propose the formation of the Coalition of Independent Worlds. Any species, regardless of size or military power, can join and receive protection from larger powers who would exploit them. Jake continued where she left off. The Coalition will provide medical aid, technological assistance, and military protection to any member species that needs it. And who would lead this coalition? Vex Thulin asked. No one leads it, Cathera said. Every species has an equal vote, regardless of how many worlds they control or how advanced their technology is. The council chamber erupted in discussion. Some species were angry at the idea of small worlds having equal voices. Others were worried about losing their ability to exploit weaker neighbors. But Jake noticed something interesting. Several of the major powers were looking thoughtful rather than angry. After hours of debate, the council voted. The Coalition of Independent Worlds was officially recognized by a narrow margin. 43 species joined immediately, including several that had been considered major powers. 6 months later, Jake stood on the observation deck of New Villani, the crystal city that had been built on the New Villani homeworld. The planet was beautiful. Blue oceans, green forests, and cities that looked like they had grown from the dreams of artists. Kate Lopez joined him at the window. She was now the commander of the Coalition Defense Force. Hard to believe how much has changed. The galaxy feels different now, Jake agreed. More hopeful. Through the window they could see human and Villani children playing together in the crystal gardens. Ships from dozens of species came and went from the orbital station. Scientists, doctors, and engineers from across the galaxy worked together on projects that would have been impossible a year ago. Admiral, came Cathera's voice as she approached. The council meeting is about to begin. Jake nodded. Today they would vote on adding 12 more species to the coalition. Species that had been overlooked and ignored by the galaxy's powers, just like the Villani had been. As they walked toward the meeting chamber, Jake thought about how one distress signal had changed everything. The galaxy had learned that compassion was not weakness, that cooperation was stronger than exploitation, and that sometimes the smallest voices had the most important things to say. The rescue of the Villani had become something much bigger. It had become the beginning of a new kind of galaxy,